So I had a question. Somebody asked, how do you heat your shop? Because it's not insulated. You can see outside right there, the fork from the bucket went through the wall right there when we were putting sheets on the roof. But there's no insulation in any of the walls all the way around. But that top plate is 10 feet. So I put plastic up for half the shop, right? And then over down at that end, that's probably, well, half a shop wide that way. And then third of the shop deep down there by the toolbox, I put a blue tarp. But if you go over here, there's the garage door. That's just a couple tarps right now. Those will come in the next month or so. But you can see the daylight there, and you can see maybe the daylight coming up through the soffits. Even though it's closed in, there's still those gaps. Okay, so here's the roof, right? And that's like 14 foot to the peak. But what I did is I put that plastic at 10 feet. It droops down to maybe 8 in the middle and then back up to 10 over there. And then the plastic hung down to the floor all winter, and the blue tarp just about touched the floor. Excuse me, but there was an opening somewhere by the bench, that spot right in there, kind of. Am I pointing in the right direction? There we go. Kind of like in there, where you walk through between that ramp and the stove, that second pellet stove. There was like a 2 foot high by 2 foot wide opening that the cold air would come from this side and it would go across the other way. So I always had more than I wanted fresh air. But hopefully we'll get, not hopefully, it's got to be done. We'll get insulation in the ceiling this winter, this summer, and in the gables for sure. There, that little knee wall there, and on both sides, and the doors. This door would be huge, and finish wrapping the building. The building's only wrapped probably as high as that one, I think it was 2 sheets. They wrapped it 2 sheets tall, so it's got one more sheet to go up of that house wrap. We're actually using roof wrap because the roof wrap was 1,000 square feet of roof wrap for $75, I believe. Sorry, I think that's fluff. Had lunch. Peanut butter and fluff on a bagel. It's phenomenal. I think it's still there. Save it for later. Nobody ever told me. Nice. Anyhow, the house wrap, the Type R or Tyvek or whatever it's called, is $150 for 900 square feet. And the roof wrap was $75 for 1,000 square feet. My opinion, and I may be wrong, for whatever scientific reason, you could tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know, but this stuff here is roof wrap made by, I don't know. The name is somewhere there. Oh, Epilay? No, is that right? No, that's Epilady. No. Anyway, I think it's Epilay. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Yeah, that's what it is. Epilay Superior. And that has a 12-month UV protection rating, where all the other ones I saw, including some of the house wraps, were like 3 or 4 months, 6 months. And I wanted to just put that on. This was done right as winter was setting in. I mean, there was snow in here on the floor when we were closing it in. So we basically got the cement poured, got the walls put up, and got the roof on. But there was no plywood on the walls. There was like one on every corner just to hold it, or two on every corner to hold it square. And we put the roof on it. And we had the roof tied together on the inside so that it couldn't move until we got all the plywood on. Once, you know, all the plywood was on, then we took all the diagonals off, you know, like that. That's not hooked anymore, but kind of like that idea. All the bracing. Probably there's still one somewhere. But the shop's 30 by 30. So 30 by 16 or 15, probably 15, is what was plasticed off. And I had this little stove here. It's on its side. It's Avalon. Let's see, the motor that drives the auger was bad. So I tore it all apart, soldered the ends together. Is what it was. There was a broken auger and broken wire, and it got to working. And then a friend of mine had another one that was missing a motor, and so it was bigger in BTUs. And I had this trailer furnace. That light's bright, but it's an old trailer furnace. And so I had it, and then this is the other pellet stove here. And that has 2 motors in it, 2 augers. So I took that motor, tried it on here, but one was clockwise, one was counterclockwise. So it didn't work. So I ordered another motor for it. It was only 30 bucks, something like 35 or something dollars. And so when it was 20, 25 below outside, I could get it up to between 45 and 55 in here pretty easily. And if I let the heat go a long way, 57 to 60. But if you're working and you have a couple sweatshirts on, 45 to 50 is pretty good. Like right now, it feels chilly in here. Plow's going by again. And it's 38 according to that thermometer. And sorry for all the movement about. 38 on that one. And this one says 45. But it's on the wall side of the pellet stove. And remember, the sides of the pellet stoves don't get hot at all. So this is kind of cool over here. The heat is about here and then out front. And then I got this little tiny dual 4-inch fan thing blowing that way, which I often turn it to blow that way towards the door, because a lot of times that's where I'm working. But that's how I heated it with the conditions. Now, I went through that whole story basically to show you it's just plywood. Obviously, it's just plywood. No insulation, lots of cracks. You know, that big crack up there, you can see, that's just taped. It's got a piece of that zip tape on it. This one over here, the one on the bottom, I don't know if you can see it from where you are. I know you're hundreds of miles away, but that's taped. That one's not. And then both side soffits, you can see that. You can see that that's not a different colored plywood. That's in that. That's light coming up through on the outside. So all of that is heat loss. And then, here, I'm getting better at pointing to you guys now. And then all along there, right, that's all heat loss. And then way up top over there, that's all heat loss, obviously. Oh, there's another one over there. See, things that I don't even notice any other time. It's somewhere in there. I don't know if I'm pointing to it or not, because I'm trying to, let's see if I can get you there. And there, right there. All right. And you probably saw them on your own. And this here, I mean, you see the gap on the bottom? That's just gapped. And then I have this thing hooked together because, yeah. So if the wind blows hard, it can just come right in. Anyhow, it's possible to do. Love the pellet stove. We were heating with the furnace and a little salamander, like 100,000, a little 100,000 BTU, and it threw a fit. It's old, so it threw a fit. And the coil, I guess you would call it, transistor, it just, the thing that makes it go spark, decided it didn't want to work anymore. So round about that time, I got the pellet stove and tried a pellet stove. So next year is going to be better, obviously. Insulation and doors. So pellet stove, pellet stove. So that's like $7 a bag now. And of course, diesel fuel, kerosene is $4, $3.75 to $4, and well, who knows? Depends on where you buy it, I guess. Could be $4 or $5. And this thing here will run through a 5-gallon can in 8 hours. So even if it's $4, right? 5 times 4, there's 20 bucks just for 8 hours. The pellet stove, I can turn that, I can put a bag in there, turn that up on high, work out here for, well, I normally turn it on like 5, which is, it goes 1 to 9. I turn it on 5, and then I'll come out and I'll work for an hour or two. Then I'll go, I drive a route, school bus route, and then I'll come back after dinner and I'll work again. So it probably is going for 6 hours. And then I'll turn it down to low, 1, and it'll go until the next morning. So not quite 24 hours because I run it on medium to high for those 5 or 6 hours or whatever I'm in here. Even if I'm only in here for 4 hours, whatever. It's turned on high and it's medium before that to warm the building up. But that's $7 a day and not 20, you know. Now, when the insulation is in, will that change? Maybe. You know, maybe that furnace, that's 80,000 BTUs. You know, maybe that'll heat better than this 42,000 BTU pellet stove. I don't know. It's yet to be seen, but I'm also going to try and hook up my outdoor boiler. I have one of those hanging square boxes that is water to air with the fan on the back of it. And I'm thinking about putting a 275 tank, like a fuel tank, but stood on its end, and put it right there in the corner. And then my furnace holds 175 gallons by itself. And then have that heater hung up on the wall. And antifreeze the whole system. So if I don't want to use it, I can let it go out. But if I want to use it, I just put wood in it, cardboard, paper, whatever. It's an outdoor wood boiler, right? So I'm wondering just if that, I can't find out. I haven't found out what that 275 tank of 180 degree water is going to give off in terms of BTUs. I'd like to find out. And I'm not scientifically equipped in my mind to figure out all those formulas that they tried to spit at me online. I have no idea. But if I had a 275 tank sitting there on the ground, so it's going to absorb some heat into the floor, which I don't know if that's good or bad. Maybe I should put it off the floor or put it on, I don't know. But if I heat the cement, all the better. And I wanted the in-floor heat, but I didn't have the money to do it. So anyway, if I have the 275 there and the 175 outside, then I got, you know, almost 500 gallons of water between that, the lines, and the heater, the box fan. Get the whole system up to 180 degrees, and then put the box fan on a thermostat. And when the box fan's not running, it's not a box fan, it's a heater. But anyway, it'll just be radiating off of the 275 oil barrel. And that's a lot of inches, you know, on that barrel. So is that going to be enough if I start that furnace and heat it up, the whole system, to 180 degrees? And it might take a day to do that. But heat it up and then just let the fire go out. And will that heat the shop for a day? Will it heat it for 2 days, 3 days? I don't know. So that's a whole nother thing. So now that I've rambled long enough, I'll let you guys go. Have a good one. Till next time. Bye-bye.